Hey traders, are you liking that market rally that's taking place? Nice move to the upside, but there's three things that are going to happen next week that could just rip the guts out of this rally. I know that's kind of graphic, but those are the potentials of what's going to happen next week with the Fed meeting. That's one of them. There's two more. Plus, hey, I've got three stocks to share with you this week. And it's good to be back in the saddle. I was gone for about 10 days, but we're back and we're ready to rumble through the end of the year. Let's do it together as the AutoPilot Trading takes off for new heights. Let's get going right now.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilburn, the Autopilot Trader. I just want to welcome you all to Trade Your Way to Wealth and Financial Freedom. Glad to see you're with us. Phil, welcome. I see you just jumped on board. Phil's visiting over on one of our local islands. And so I want to welcome Anil and Steve. Gentlemen, it's good to be back.
Yes, good to be here.
And I know I'm excited about the market, which way is it going and the direction is going. But we got some really interesting things going on next week that I'll cover here shortly. At the same time, I want to remind everybody, at the end of today's session, we'll be taking a look at two stocks that you're going to call out to us. So stocks, not ETFs, please. And let us know, are you in the stock? Are you out of the stock? If you are joining us over there on the YouTube channel, welcome aboard. Please identify yourself and let us know how things are going. I do monitor that chat box over there on YouTube. Also, if you're not a member of our YouTube family, go ahead and over to Market Tech Talk and sign up, become a follower over on the YouTube channel. I do post other videos over there that have to do with technical analysis and trading and just new ideas. And so we're going to jump into today's session. We did modify how we do the sessions over the from previously, so that we can keep it nice, short, and succinct. The things you need to be aware of going into next week. One, the Fed meets on the 2nd of November. Very interesting times. Now, I'm not saying that the Fed is politicized or anything like that, but the anticipation expectation is a 0.75 to a 1% change in the basis points. However, with the election coming up on the 8th of November, could the Fed feed the administration some softballs by only raising 0.5%? I don't know. And what would the market do? The market would probably respond very positive to that and do a jump, but we'll see. I don't know. Secondly, we've got earnings coming out of our ears. We've seen, I think we've finally seen the dethroning of the FANG stocks, Meta getting whacked, Amazon getting whacked, Apple is doing doing pretty good. I'm going to be throwing a question to Steve and Anil a little bit later today, and this is going to be a real quick watch. And I'm not going to ask the question right this moment, but if you had one stock that you would short right now, what would it be? I'm going to ask that question here shortly, so you want to hang on to the end. And then, as I said, we want your picks, but you need to tell us where you got in, where and what your plan, not what your plan is, but where you got in, if you're in the stock. Basically, let's see, what else do I have here? Remember, all the materials we present are for trading purposes. Traders should always pay for trade. Any new method, probably the risk of their own personal capital. Past performance is not an indication of future performance. And here's where we're sitting, still raising up. September kind of set us back a little bit, and now we're trying to catch back up to our 40% line. That's my target for every year, is basically to do 40%. And this is also capturing only the closed trades that we've done so far. So that's sitting at about 30%. As you can see here, this is where we were the last time we did a session. We were beating the S&P by about 61%. I was up 36% on the Autopilot Trading service. And now we're up about 38%. That is inclusive of both paper profits and the trades that we've already closed out. I'll highlight right here, the S&P, if it stays where it's at or better, will move out of bear territory slightly. Secondly, NASDAQ still in bear territory, Russell still in bear territory, but making progress. And the Dow, of course, the Dow has stuck its toe in the bear market territory and is basically backed out of that significantly, doing really well. Hey, Justin, welcome over there on YouTube. It is nice to be back, my friend. Thank you. With no further ado, I'm going to jump in now. Say, guys, let's take a look at the stocks that you're picking for this week. Let me go ahead and go over here. We'll come back and do the analysis of the indexes. But first up, Mr. Steve says...
Yeah, I had a couple of picks. I believe I ended up with Tesla.
Okay. Sure. Well, Tesla's the one you have to talk about.
Okay. Well, I like the pullback it's in. It's holding good support level, long-term support. And I like today's price action. I'm a buyer right now today.
Right now today. Yeah. Stop loss below that low right there?
Correct. Below today's low.
Okay. So, yeah, we're getting a double bounce here from a potential double bottom. And it's got some good legs up to the upside. I like it, Steve.
Yeah, and then it also goes back to, I don't know, whatever it is, the double bottom before the all-time high.
Yeah.
And we're all in that same, I think it's a great support zone, great buying area.
The one big thing I like about Tesla right now is earnings are already out of the way. They're done. Yeah. So that's excellent. That is excellent. And so Tesla. So let's see what Anil has to say. And Anil's pick is a very familiar pick. It has been a strong stock all year long. Now, it has done a gap up after earnings. How are you going to trade this, Anil?
I got a triple screen buy signal, so I will probably buy it around 3 o'clock today. Strong comp rating, accumulation distribution rating is good, and earnings out of the way. So
yeah, that is excellent. Another one of those earnings. Nice gap up with earnings. I like this because I know Anil will buy basically on this breakout with approximately a 5% stop loss, I'm thinking. Yes?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. And I want to highlight to you just really quick the difference between, what Anil's doing with his system, which I love what he's doing with his system, and what I'd be looking at as a pullback trader. Here's what I would be looking at as a pullback trader. See this high right here that it broke out of? That would be my pullback zone. And it's actually bouncing off of that. So I agree. What's that?
It's about there, yeah.
It is. And so I like that from where it's at right now down to back into the gap. You're talking about a 6%. So, yeah, 5%. It shouldn't go there if it's going to be heading on up. So that's ENPH. Good pick.
Yeah, I like it. I like it also. It's the strongest in the solar group.
Yes.
The only negative I see is the solar group is not, if you say look at TAN as an ETF representing solar. That's not so great, but this one is certainly a great individual in that sector. Remember,
folks, this gap up right here after earnings, that is a strong level, very strong level of support. So we'd be looking at that going up. Here's my pick. I really struggled with my pick, though. MTDR, Matador Resources. Now, we've had earnings. Now it's pulling back. Now, my question is, okay, where do I think it will pull back to? Doing the similar thing to what I did with Anil's pick. I'm looking at a pullback. Here was the breakout level, about the 63.83 level. It's sitting on top of the 20-day moving average. So I would say any type of a pullback, I have to be cognizant, though, that my momentum has shifted. So I may get a pullback back into the 20 or even a little bit lower. So somewhere between $62 and $64 would be an ideal place for me to enter. That would be a area of reduced risk, and we want to be basically reducing our risk. This is very strong on the IBD 50 list, and also has really good ratings on the stock checkup. Thoughts, guys?
On the
I like it. It's in a strong sector, and it's pulling back. I'd be trading it pretty much like you're thinking. I'm looking for a place to buy.
Anil?
On the triple screen system, it has a buy signal on daily as well as weekly. It's continuing, so I like it.
Excellent. Okay, awesome. Yeah, and look at the volume over here. It is basically, this was the big volume where it had the shooting star, but then the next few days, the volume is drying up as it's doing its pullback. And so, like I said, somewhere between $63.74 and $62. That's where I'd be looking on jumping all over this with probably a 5% stop loss. So that's what I've got for the Matador. Let's take a look at the S&P. Remember, guys, no, I'm just, somebody said, hey, Papa. Yeah, that's me. I wonder if that's one of my grandkids. I don't know.
Okay.
They're messing with me. No. So let's take a look at the indexes. And remember, I'm going to be asking you guys for 2 stocks to take a look at. Absolutely excellent move. I'm going to highlight some things on this chart that is very interesting. One, we made a new low, and that was the start of the uptrend. The markets are in a confirmed uptrend now, and we went up to this swing high here, came down to the swing low. Okay, that is a first new swing low. Now we pushed on up, and as soon as we broke out of this level right there, we are now in a new, relatively fresh uptrend. So how do you want to trade it? Well, the way we want to trade this is basically look for the pullbacks into this breakout area. And that is an excellent way. I don't know if you guys saw the presentation that was done by Dr. Carr on IBD, but it was really excellent. He talked about this little formation right here where it goes up. Again, I'll show it to you one more time. Where it goes from a new low and does this zigzag pattern to a higher swing low and then takes out that swing high right there. He says that is one of the things that he utilizes as a trigger to now take long positions. So on the S&P, what I'd be looking at is any kind of a pullback into the green candle right there or a bounce off the 50-day moving average because it has regained that. And I'll now recognize where's my potential resistance point. Well, my potential resistance point is up here. The 200-day moving average and the downtrending trend line. Those are where we would expect this to go. And if you look to your left, what do we have? On that 200-day moving average, well, look at that. Would be right back into an old level of a swing high, where you would anticipate sellers to be ready and prime.
Dennis, I would also point out, though, there's overhead resistance just end of August, early September lows. You marked it by an arrow right there.
Yep, it's right in there.
Take it across, we're right into that level right now.
Yep.
And this rally is on declining volume, which is always a concern.
Yep. So that, again, without a doubt, Steve, that is a perfect area where to look for some potential fall. Another way you can do this also is just lay in a fib. And I always like to lay in my fibs. And I'm going to go from that swing high there. This is major swing high, major swing low. And look what's taking place. There's the area that Steve's talking about at the 388 level. And so if we can't get through that 388 level, which happens to be the 100-day moving average, then we'll probably get a reversal signal. At this point, though, no bearish reversal signal, and the momentum is still pointing up. Early momentum off the weekly chart is also pointing up. So that's what I've got for the indexes. So welcome aboard there, son. Hey, okay, what about your guys' stock? What do you want me to take a look at? Justin, you have anything over there on YouTube or anybody who's in the audience? And while they're coming up with that, Steve and Anil, what stock, now this is really fast and furious, what stock would you short right now if you could?
Right now, I do not have a short. They're all extended to the downside, the things I would be interested in shorting.
Okay.
But on a bounce to a declining 30-week average, I'd be all looking for shorts.
Okay, so you're not looking for a short right now. Anil?
Not right now, but I'm watching. Yeah.
Anil?
I think I would pass on that question because that's not my areas of expertise.
Okay. Then I'm going to make up two stocks for you guys,
All right.
if that's all right. Meta, folks.
Well, it's certainly what I'm watching.
Okay, Meta. And what do we have to do here? We had a huge gap down from about 122. This is very significant. And this is where apply the rule of thumb for when you're holding a stock into earnings. If you are not up at least 10%, get the heck out of that position, close it, say, you know what, I am not going to, even jeopardize anything. Meta fell, I think, a little bit over 20%. And so that's one of the reasons. The rule of thumb on earnings, you have to be up 10% or more to hold over earnings. And of course, you can do what you want, but from what I've seen is normally, if you get a break on earnings, it will stay within 10%. So what am I looking at on this? I'm looking for a pullback up into the midsection of this gap down. May or may not make it up there, but from 103. But I'd look at moving back up towards the 8-day moving average and then trade it to the downside from there. Another one that we need to, Google's actually getting a little bit of a bounce here. Google's another one of those where it's in a strong downtrend. And then last but not least, Amazon. Again, gap down. It's being bought up back above the 100, but look for it to run out of gas somewhere in that area there. So those are three potential downside stocks. Now we have BA. Rocco, are you in BA? Guys, what do you think of Boeing?
I like it, and I like it as a short, a little bit more of a bounce.
Okay. We've got earnings that just happened, 10/16. And I will whip up what's your thoughts about Boeing, Anil?
Boeing actually looks good here on my system. I got a buy rating on it on October 21st, and that signal is continuing.
Okay. Here's what I don't like about Boeing. 18 on the composite, EPS 2. Those are really bad numbers, Rocco. Relative strength 34, SMR not even applicable, and about a C. Some people are buying it, but it's about C equals sellers and buyers. The industry rank is the top 46%, so that's not bad. So then, anybody else? Justin has one over on, which is O. Again, composite rating, really, folks, and it's in less than the top 10%, of the stocks. Composite, it is an uptrend. It is in a really crappy industry group, 165 out of 197. And then its accumulation distribution, B minus, people are buying it, and 73 on the EPS. But again, there are better options out there. Unless, and I'll caveat that, unless you know something about the company. In other words, if you have insider information, then that makes it a different story. I'm not talking about insider trading. I'm talking about if you know something, maybe it's an industry in your hometown or close to where you live, and you know something's happening with it. So excellent. All right, guys, that covers the two stocks we're going to cover today. Steve and Neil, you have any last and finals for us?
I got one question for you, this being the earnings season.
Yeah.
What do you do if the stock really, really looks good, but the earnings just coming up in a couple of 3 days? Do you wait for it or you go for it? What's your criteria?
I personally, if I'm not in the stock itself, I will wait for earnings after earnings before I do anything.
Likewise. If I'm already in and I've got a nice profit, I will hold at least a portion of the position through earnings.
Yeah.
But only if I'm profitable.
And that's where I need to have that at least a minimum of 10% profit. That's my own criteria. And a lot of times I will have already, part of my exit rules is if I get 10%, I take a portion of the profits off the table.
Likewise.
And so I'm dealing with a partial position anyway. Good question though. So, hey, do you struggle with this? Not knowing when, where, and how to enter a position? Well, that sounds familiar. It's time for a new beginning, guys. Become an autopilot trader. Take a test flight for, for 3 months. See how it fits your trading style and help you to basically a new way of seeing things and trading high probability setups. And you can find the links right there. And if you're a BAM member or a veteran, drop me an email and I will cut you in on the discount rate on that. So learning to be a winning trader with winning trader routines and habits. I'm going to be putting together a little course in the very near future. It's going to be specifically about how to have a good winning trading routine. What I find is that oftentimes our traders, no matter how long you've been trading, if you're losing funds, it's oftentimes because the routine that you're trading. So here's a good place to start is at the end of every trading day and at the weekends. Take a look at what went great about your trading, what did you learn, and how can you improve. Those are great things to ask, and then write those down in your journal. If you're not journaling your trades, you will have a struggle becoming a profitable and successful trader. So, Stephen and Neil, that's it for today. I'm going to wrap it up. We thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend as we finish off the month of October. And remember, there's a lot of junk going on next week, along with earnings, the Fed, the whole 9 yards. And so aloha, trade well, and prosper. And we'll see you next week. God bless everybody.
All right.